So it featured on the news channels over in Israel and in other locations internationally. Look, the bit that seems to really have resonated is this. Now, nobody knows what will happen next in the Middle East, but I know without any doubt in my mind who I'm rooting for. And it's not the terrorists who celebrate death, it's the country fighting desperately for life. Now, the response has been, well, can only really describe it as overwhelming. Of course, as expected, the hate and threats have come swift and hard. But so too, the plaudits. Thousands in the Israeli and Jewish communities around the world have reached out, thanked me, said how brave I am for speaking with moral clarity on this issue. But I have a confession to make. I'm not brave at all. In fact, the complete opposite. I am absolutely terrified of what the world looks like right now, of where it appears to be heading. I'm scared beyond belief that evil is starting to edge out good, and I haven't seen that in my lifetime. And that is why I speak loudly and strongly, even if my voice shakes inside. Do I worry for my safety and that of my 6-year-old daughter? Absolutely. Have we received countless death threats? Specific ones? Yes. Do I ask myself daily if it's worth the ongoing risk? Not so much to me. I make a choice to be here. She doesn't. So to her, yes, I do. I question it all the time. In fact, multiple times a day. I'm not Israeli. I'm not Jewish. And no, as some like to suggest, I'm not being paid by anyone to say anything. It would be easier now for me not to speak. I give you the nod. But what about the long term? What kind of world will exist if all those who don't feel directly involved in the conflict in the Middle East just stay silent? What did Edmund Burke say again? The only thing necessary for triumph of evil is for good men and women to do nothing. And let's be real here. It might feel far, far away, but we all have skin in this game. Every single one of us around the world. This fight is bigger than just Israel versus Hamas or Hezbollah or Iran. It's a fight for everything that should matter and does. It's a fight for every child on all sides who has lost their life since October 7. For every human being who believes in life and freedom and hope. So you know what conclusion I come to every single time without fail? Every time I ask myself if I should continue speaking out and making life harder for my daughter and I, my 6-year-old? The answer is yes, every single time. Why? Well, for the very same reason I sometimes think I should stop entirely. For her, my daughter. She doesn't understand yet, but when she grows up, she will. I want her to know that her mum stood for something, even when it was hard. That I made sacrifices to fight for the kind of world I want to exist for her when she's big enough to go out into it. That when she sees injustice, she knows she has a voice and that it can make a difference. I got to see that firsthand in my late dad, Major General and Senator Jim Mollan. He stood for what was right, loudly and unashamedly, even when it hurt. And that's why I can do it now too, because he showed me how. So thank you to all the people who sent so much love. It's hard sometimes, as many of you know much more than I ever will. But it's at times like this that it helps to be reminded why standing up for what is right in this world matters so, so much, despite the often heavy cost.